the clutches that you're in. He will stay by your side.
And yeah, eventually, like, that turned into, like, I like discovered Maroon 5, and then discovered the Chili Peppers, and then went forward and discovered Alter Bridge, and then I think it was like Atreyu, like this, like really just like old like, what do you call them? They're like new metal. I was like, ooh, these guys are angry, so am I. Like, I'm 13, 14 and the world sucks, and little did I know that like fucking 10 years later it's even worse.
It's like
I don't know, man, I pull a lot of my inspiration these days from like I mentioned Lord Huron before, sort of thing, like especially for like what I'm starting out with, like with the EP and stuff like that. Like, I'm pulling a lot of inspiration from like folk and stuff like that, like bands like Lord Huron and bands like I can't really say that they've inspired me to do much because I literally only started.
But the fact you started like really getting into it, I was like, damn,
yeah,
like, awesome, man.
Yeah, like my mate Jasper as well. It's just been like, you like getting a use, and just like flinging links at me. Like I envision it like every single song that I've written, I take it right down the road to like the grand scheme of like, there's going to be like a fucking 22 string like orchestra playing this part, and there's going to be like horns and brass over here. There's going to be like 2 guitars. If you can imagine where you're at now on a grand scale, like, I don't know, that always helps me. Like, I'm doing a song at the moment called Dependence, and I've always, like, my mate Matt, who helped produce that song, we're always saying like, oh man, this would be so good if we could get this in, or like alternate percussion or orchestral tracks, and we tried to throw like shitty like pad orchestral tracks on there, and it just sounded like 2 kids with GarageBand for the first time. It's like you know, like I heard my old music teacher used to like love talking about orchestras and shit, and I used to be like, I'm only metal, I only listen to black metal. And then I realized, like, again, like hindsight's 2020, I should have paid more attention, because it was actually teaching us like, this is where they sit, this is their job in the orchestra. Like I don't know, like the whole orchestral thing has always been on my mind to do, but now that like having the technology to do it without having to hire an 11-piece, 22-piece like string orchestra,
because I cannot afford it.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, so yeah, it's definitely now something that I want to. Yeah.
Oh, there's so much as well, so I don't feel like bad going at it. I could just eat it like this, honestly. Like, it's rice. So this one I looked at, I was like, oh, it's like a stir fry. I was like, oh no, you eat it with lettuce.
You put it in the lettuce.
Put it in the lettuce.
How like you and I first met? Just straight up just hijacked your lunch break.
Oh yeah,
like,
they were just there. You just walk. Did you guys walk
down
up
and
to
we're
me?
like, hey, and I was like, hey Russ, and you're like, oh hey Anna, and you like looked at your food and you're like, well, this isn't gonna get fucking eaten.
We didn't really talk that much too much. We kind of ish, and we're like, I mostly was talking to Anna.
I just bit my cheek so hard.
That chicken.
Oh, how?
You're trying to like.
You'll see the moment. It'll be like Ralph Wiggum getting his heart broken. You'll be like, you'll like pinpoint. It'll be like, oh.
I thought you were gonna cook some like basic Asian dish, but this is like legendary.
It really is a basic Asian dish. It's just the second you put something else like a lettuce leaf in it, people are like, oh my god, it's so rustic. Yeah. Did you ever find that? It's really bad to say, but like the only reason I was moving forward is because I was getting like petty likes, and I was getting petty comments of people saying like, good job, and I was like, that was what I was feeding on to motivate me.
No, I get you, yeah.
Like there was a stage where I was just putting out videos because people were saying nice things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instant validation, instant gratification.
That is such
not
a
doing
trap, man.
Not doing any, like literally not doing anything outside of those videos. On surface level, people come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're working really hard," and I'd be like, "You know what? I am." But really, I'm putting up like 15 to 1 minute videos up once every week. You know what I mean? That's how you find success in the field. Is not by like showing off to people. Is just by putting it out there. You know what I mean? Like the whole like like document versus create, which is something that I know that we talk about a lot, is like just constantly, I guess, just like putting a chronological order to your next big project, you know, and like people can go, okay, cool, so like he's up to that. Like people who follow me closely enough, like my mum or you. And that's about it. No, but you know, like people who comment on your posts, or the people who like hit you up in the DMs after a story, or who just catch up with you on the regular, like, hey man, how's your music? How's your videos going? How's your reviews? What's your next one? You know, like being able to giving a chronological sort of lead up to your next big project, I think is really cool, and that's what motivates me now.
Would you say this part of the process is like tedious or the most enjoyable? Kind of trying to figure it out. I know you're doing a cover, but like would it be the same thing if you were doing your own music?
If it's a cover, it's just fun to sort of like once you know your scale, you just kind of like okay. But I think before then it's just fun figuring out like. Because this is all new to me. Like I've never once had to incorporate like staccato or pizzicato or like legato notes. I just play them.
That comes down to the whole. I think the perfectionist inside all of us. Like we know we have talent, and we're being modest about it. Yeah. I think my point is being modest about it.
Yeah.
Like don't.
I hold back so much. Like Anna fucking tells me off for it all the time.
Let's see. There you go. Like,
but that's not just Anna. It's like mum and you know even Lockie. You know people are just fucking put something out there now. Like why with Calamity? Why are you holding it back? And it was just because I was scared to put it out there because it's not just out there for praise. It's out there for ridicule. It's out there for slander. It's out there for people to just voice their negative opinions, not just their positive ones. Thankfully. Because I didn't do much I didn't do any advertising or PR for Calamity, so it only just got put out to my group of friends. So even if they did have something bad to say about it, they were like, I'm just gonna give it to myself.
People that we know us, and they actually want to be critical, but then they have the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Different.
I've had people with Calamity be like, hey, I think you need a just when it comes to mastering and stuff like that, like your levels need to come up more. This needs to come down personally. And I was like, okay, that's fair enough, and I'll take that on board. You know, but it's the stuff where it's like, hey, I really don't like your voice in that. I haven't heard that, thank God.
But
it's still out there for it. But you know what I mean? Like I haven't heard. But that's what I'm afraid of hearing.
Why are you afraid of hearing it?
Why am I? I don't know. It's like this is my baby, man. And especially Calamity. Calamity to me is very special because all my songs take place in fiction.
Yeah.
Like all my songs I write just stories about characters that I have no relationship with. Calamity is about 3 people that, well, one of them I loved, and one of them was going through the whole cancer thing.
Yeah.
And the other. That song to me isn't just like, hey, look at me, I'm singing, but it's like, this song is very emotionally tied to me, and it's the first one I've ever released properly. I love that it's open to interpretation
as well.
I've had people come up to me and say, hey, Calamity reminds me of this, or Calamity sounds like a love song to me. I'm like, well, cool. I mean, you know,
artist interpretation.
That's it. You listen to it however you want, and I'm glad for people to. I'm more than happy for people to just interpret it however.
Do you have any early demos of Calamity on you right now? Yeah, you do. Yeah.
And they're all awful.
That's right. Can you play the? Do you have the finished version somewhere?
I do. Yeah.
Gets a clutch it's your time to rest. Wind will blow and the seas will roar your name for the world to hear. Take your place on this stage with me, because the skies aren't home to you. So tear these ties from me, this chemical calamity, and break these bonds.
Yep. Alright, so like Calamity sort of started its development in like 2015. Like, so I was in a band called The Rift. The other guitarist, Kyle, actually was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And I remember Dane telling me about like how it all happened, and then where it was me, Dane, and Joe just sitting in the prac shed, and that like we just sat there not knowing what to do. You know, thank God, but like Kyle's all good and he's still here. But then a little while later, my mum's cousin, Shane, who was kind of my cousin as well, just because of the relationship, was he died of, I believe, liver cancer. No one really knew. It came by surprise to everyone in the family, and just being at the wake was just like, oh my God, like, just it's the first funeral I'd properly actually attended maturely, like
You're at an age,
being grown
yeah,
up, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I could actually feel what was going on.
Yeah.
So I went home and then immediately like put a little acoustic version of the song out just on Facebook. I was like, I have to like get this out there, and like I can't express myself just by like moping in my own mind, so I just put it out there on Facebook. And then a little while after that, my auntie was diagnosed with breast cancer, my auntie Alicia. I grew up in New South Wales, and that's where my auntie and my uncle and my cousins live, and to just know that like my auntie had to go through chemotherapy, and she like lost like all of her hair, she lost, you know, she was frail, and apparently, you know, like I didn't see her during that time. I saw her after. She's still with us and she's actually doing
Good.
awesome. So there is a happy ending to that story, you know what I mean? Like she's obviously something like that you're gonna have to be checked up on for the rest of your life.
But, yeah. So she's
Yeah.
in remission.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. So, but I saw her after, and she was just killing it, man. She came down here. She was staying in a holiday house in Rye with the family, and it was just good to be like, you're still here. And like, I was releasing a song, I think 2 weeks after that point, and I showed her, and I was like, this is essentially for you.
So what would you say if you could describe Calamity? Because I know it's based off those three people. What would you say the song is about?
The song is about overcoming something that's out of your control. You know, I like the song takes place for those three people with cancer, and then it also dives into a mate of mine who was heavily addicted to drugs, and a friend of mine who was, you know, suffering from depression, stuff like that. So chemical imbalances in the brain, the chemicals in chemotherapy, and the chemicals in drugs. So tear these ties from me, this chemical calamity is essentially that line is for those three people overcoming whatever they're in, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's depression, whether it's cancer. That last chorus is kind of like the break free moment, like very much the break free moment. My auntie overcoming, and then Kyle overcoming, and you know, Shane, he did break free, but in a different way. You know what I mean? And so did my other friends with the other stuff. So,
But that's why I really want to have you on the channel, because gives a good example that, you know, all artists from all walks of different types of arts are storytellers at their core, whether it's storytellers of themselves or storytellers, you know, in general. You know? So
thanks for having me on, man.
that's okay,
It's been a
man.
real pleasure.
That's it. You happy with that?
Happy with that, man. Thank you very much.
So tear these ties from me, this chemical calamity, and break these bonds and cease to rise again and spread my wings. I will find so clear. I will meet you there.